podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Now entering the PNRNetworks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Quips. It's time for Ring Around the Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hi guys, welcome to another week, and I'm your host, Platinum Rose Lady, aka Kim Brown, aka the Doof with the mic, in front of you, talking to you right now as I'm recording my show on September 20th, 2018. We're going to jump right into things here, folks, and it's a little down and dirty show this week, but we're going to get things done for you and get some results out there for you. Also, talking about the WWE's newest pay-per-view that they're, well, not a pay-per-view, it's the, they're hyping the heck out of. It's going to be seen on the WWE network, the show from Saudi Arabia, which I'm sure is great for some people. You know, and they're making a big deal about the fact that they're going to be doing this show, WWE Crown Jewel, in Saudi Arabia, which is going to be on the WWE network on Friday, November 2nd. And that's great. You know, that's all well and terrific for those people who will be interested in watching something like that. I am not going to watch it. Simply because that's my prerogative. It's, you know, I'm not going to get political, and what people do in their own country and their rules and stuff like that. You have to do what the people, you know, what the rules are in a certain country. You have to follow them, even if you kind of find those rules a little unpalatable. But, that doesn't mean I have to watch it. So this is going to be an event I'm going to be sitting out. Sorry. But one event that I did not sit out was WWE Hell in a Cell, which was on September 16th from San Antonio, Texas. With the opening that was, you know, had all this kind of occult imagery in it and talking about demons and giving into evil and blah, blah, blah and all this. And I'm just kind of sitting there going, okay, am I watching a wrestling pay-per-view, or did somebody decide that we're gonna just, I don't think Supernatural's back yet, so that's not it. But I'm sorry, I was just kind of like, I didn't like the opening. I mean, I didn't like the whole, you know, opening to the show. I was like, okay, this is a little too weird and a little uncomfortable, and it's another one of those times I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have children, because I'd really hate to try and explain why, like, somebody who's supposed to be the good guy in this match, like Roman Reigns, they have him, like, with the whole demonic thing and all that. I'm like, I'm not getting it, and I don't really like it. So, I mean, I'm all for supernatural weirdness and occult stuff like that, you know, in its own place. Everything where it, you know, everything in its own place, and that wasn't it. So anyway, so we see the opening of, you know, you have the opening of the show, and we see the new cage that's been built for Hell in a Cell, which looks like it's bigger and kind of blockier, and it's red. It's, like, extremely red. I was like, okay. I don't know why. I was just kind of like, the second I saw it, I was like, I don't like it. I honestly couldn't tell you why I didn't like it. I just did not like it. Anyway, beginning the show with the Hell in the Cell match, that's a definite qualification of the word grudge match. We have Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. And we, of course, have Randy Orton coming out first in his whole release the doves pose, which never, ever stops being funny. I'm sorry. Every time I see that, I just crack the fuck up. I'm sorry. I can't help it. Jeff Hardy has, when he comes down to the ring, he's got the makeup with this kind of three faces of Jeff kind of thing happening. There's a face painted on the right and on the left side of his face, and then his face in the middle, and it's just, I love that look, man. I'm like, that's so awesome. And of course, Jeff also has, eyes painted. Now, he's got those long gloves that he wears that he cuts holes in and stuff, and there's a bit of fabric on the end of them that ends on his hands, and there's eyeballs on those because of course there is, because it's Jeff. That's all you can say. It's like, oh, Jeff Hardy is doing something weird. In other words, water is wet and the and the sun rises in the sky. It's like that. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a slam. You be you, Jeff. That's, Jeff Hardy is the definition of the phrase you be you. Jeff's, yelling during the match that he wants to render Randy obsolete. You prove to me Randy Orton can spell obsolete, and I'll buy you a coffee. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was really not kind. I'm really sorry, but Randy Orton brings out the beast in me. What can I say? We're not even 3 minutes into this match, and Jeff takes this oh fuck bunny shot I was like, oh man, it was really not it was like, wow, that looks like it totally hurt. I did notice the Randy chant going. It was a very small Randy chant, and it also sounded like it was coming from some very small people. I mean, nobody that was doing the chant sounded like they were over 10 years old. I was like, okay, so I'm not sure this is the demographic they want to appeal to. For Randy Orton, uber villainous, borderline psycho heel, and all the 10-year-olds think he's great. Alrighty. The delete chants, with Jeff going along with the arm motion and all that. So I guess that's an interchangeable thing with the Hardys. Okay, whatever. Also, quick shout out to Matt Hardy. If you have reached the end of your career, sir, I'm sorry to see you go. And thank you for all of the years of entertainment that you've given us. Thank you for putting your body on the line to entertain us. I didn't always get your gimmicks, but you were definitely someone to watch. I wish you nothing but continued, good health with your family and good times and positive vibes too, Matt. Back to the match. I really don't understand how Jeff Hardy sees with those fucking contacts he wears. He was wearing different ones tonight. You could actually see his eyes. They weren't like this opaque thing. You could actually see them, but so that makes it a little better, but I don't understand how people see with contacts, with colored contacts anyway. And then Jeff had those other ones that looked like he'd been bit by a walker and was turning, and I'm like, I don't get it. Of course, Jeff also comes down to the ring with his eyes closed because he's got eyeballs painted on his eyelids, so that's okay. What? Okay, whatever. One of the commentators brought up the fact that Jeff Hardy has an abstract mind. Rightio. That's apparently the nice PC way to say somebody's completely fucking crazy, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if a viper is an apex predator. I just want to bring that up because, he's Randy Orton, he's the viper, he's the apex predator, blah, blah, blah. Aren't snakes usually considered ambush predators? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe I should watch some more Animal Planet or whatever, but I never get that. I don't get it. I would think like an apex predator would be like a lion or a great white shark or something like that, but what do I know? Jeff takes a ladder, sets it up upside down to do who knows what with it to Randy. Randy winds up reversing it and driving Jeff between the legs of this upside down ladder. And that's a yonic symbol if I ever saw one. And if you don't know what that means, go look it up. Because I'm not going to be the one to tell you. Randy proceeds to tear Jeff's shirt almost off and has taken Jeff's studded belt off and is now whipping Jeff on his bare back with the belt. I'm sorry, did a fan fiction writer write this match? Okay, whatever. I was like, okay. Randy then uses a ladder, kind of like a form of stocks, like to kind of hold Jeff immobile while he beats on him. I'm like, this match is one big fat kink fest, and I'm not going to kink shame anybody. We've all got our things, but I'm like, somebody wrote this match with some serious issues, serious big honking issues. Now the place where we start getting into like, okay, we have officially gone into Crazy Town. When Randy gets a hold of one of the toolboxes from under the ring, and out of everything that he could take out of the toolbox, takes out what at first I thought I was like, is that an awl? And I was like, oh no, wait, it's not an awl, it's a screwdriver. I'm like, well, okay, that's slightly better than an awl, I guess, because at least a screwdriver is not sharp. I'm like, what's he going to do with that? And then we found out what he was going to do with that. He proceeds to get in the ring with the screwdriver, insert the screwdriver into the elongated hole in Jeff Hardy's ear, and turn it, like twisting the skin tighter and tighter around it. Okay, that was much even for me. I mean, even for me, I'm kind of sitting there going, all right, okay, could we kind of, this is, guys, I'm getting totally grossed out here. And of course, the announcers are selling it like, like Jeff's being murdered. I mean, I'm not saying it didn't look painful and gross, because it did, but, it was, ugh. Randy's back is bloody. Randy's thigh is bloody by later on in the match. And the winner of the match turns out to be Randy Orton after a botched jump off of the ladders actually off the top of the cage. Jeff's hanging onto the cage like some kind of deranged toddler at a playground from hell. Tries to drop himself onto a table that Randy is on. Randy, of course, moves, and then Jeff falls through the table. Jeff is appearing legit hurt. The referee seems to be panicking. Randy's whole thing is still, you gotta count me and all this stuff like that. And the referee counts the winner of the match, Randy Orton. And Jeff is strapped to a board and stretchered out by, EMTs. So, I'm kind of sitting there going, all right, if this is how this show is starting, to quote an awesome bunch of movies, I've got a bad feeling about this. Also, I'm sorry, I should say on the pre-show was, the New Day retaining their tag team belts. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that previously. We had the next match was the SmackDown Women's Championship match with champions Charlotte Flair going against Becky Lynch. And I know that Becky is supposed to be the heel in this because she, stabbed Charlotte in the back and threw away all these years of friendship and blah, 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 etc., etc. So sad. Alexa, play Despacito. I'm just like, because the fans aren't buying it. The fans are still cheering the shit out of cheering for Becky. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna chide the crowd. The crowd's gonna cheer who they want. Although this crowd is apparently setting itself up to be as contrary as humanly possible, then again, it's Texas. That wasn't meant as a slam. That was not meant as a slam, so people in Texas, don't be angry. You have a lovely state. You had a lot of amazing, wonderful people come out of your state, including Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, so if nothing else, you should get a bye for that. But I was just kind of like, okay, you do know Becky's the bad guy in this, right? But the audience is all like, yay! So anyway, also, another observation of the evening, Corey Graves is wicked fucking annoying. I should just put that on a continuous loop because, man, that guy irritates me. I also wasn't entirely now this is a really weird thing for me to bring up out of nowhere, and I admit it. I don't know if Charlotte's boots matched her ring gear. I didn't think they did, but I'm not really like a fashion conscious person anyway. I'm just usually like, is it black? Does it fit me? Fine, I'm out. I just didn't think her boots went with her outfit, but whatever. I was like, and there's another thing that it just hit me during this match when they were standing next to each other. I was like, fuck, Becky's short. Either Becky's really short or Charlotte Flair is part giraffe because she's like either major league tall or Becky's a fucking hobbit. I'm not really sure which. Quite a few, like I mentioned, quite a few cheers for Becky. Lots of let's go Becky chants. So now it's been definitely determined this is going to be one of those crowds. And then we get the let's go Becky sucks dueling chants. All right. The leg drop failed. Becky lands on her, ass hard. Becky throughout the match is wearing away at Charlotte's left arm. Both women at one point were just flat out punching each other, which I have to admit, that was kind of fun. So apparently you can, like, the whole ability to chop really well, apparently that's something that can be biologically passed down from father to daughter. I guess that's kind of good to know. It's a pity it skipped over one of Flair's other kids that was in the ring because, you know, that whole thing. Hi, David. Moving forward, we have a very impressive sit-up powerbomb from Charlotte that almost got her the pin. This is a really great match. It's a lot of back and forth, and it's telling a really good story. Charlotte gets Becky in a Boston Crab, and Becky manages to get to the ropes. Becky locks on the disarmer, and Charlotte gets her lower half outside the ring. And this all culminates in Becky getting a quick roll-up and the winner and new SmackDown champion, Becky Lynch. Becky is obviously excited to win the title. Charlotte offers her hand as, you know, congratulations, which is what you're supposed to do when you're a classy person. Becky won't shake her hand and just walks out of the ring. I'm like, classy. That's really the attitude of someone who just won a belt and really should be gracious about it. But no, you go ahead. You be a bitch, Becky. You be you, whatever. Why is it everybody I know named Becky is a bitch? I don't know why that is. Everybody I know named Becky, I just want to smack. You know, it's just, sorry, but there it is. The announcers let us know that Jeff Hardy has been taken to a local hospital for abdominal pain. Who's surprised at that? We have a review of the match that happened over on the pre-show. As I mentioned, the New Day defending their SmackDown tag team belts against Rusev Day. Rusev and Aiden English with Lana in their corner, and the New Day winning that. Excuse me. Next up, we have the Raw Tag Team Champions Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. I need to stop doing that. I do. I know. I'm sorry. It's one joke that Seth Rollins made, and I just won't let it go. And I don't want that to be considered a slag on Scotland. I'm sure Scotland is a wonderful place. I have never been there myself, but I'd love to go. I'm sure it's a wonderful place with beautiful countrysides, and the people there are probably fantastic, but you've got Drew McIntyre over here making you look like a bunch of jerks. So there's that. So they were going against Seth Rollins, Intercontinental Champion, and Dean Ambrose, and I'm finally getting used to Dean's new haircut. Took me a little bit, because I was like, Dean's back, Dean cut his hair, what the fuck? But I'm getting used to it. I know, I'm sorry. And I gotta say, Dean has not lost a step, which is completely, not a surprise there. Really great match. At one point, there was an awesome sling blade to Dolph done by Seth. And it turns out that during the match, Drew McIntyre screaming at the referee and like saying that it was 2 and all this stuff like that, 2 counting. I'm like, oh, Drew knows how to count to 2. How sweet. I was like, that's nice. At one point, Dolph's screaming in Seth's face to do something, so Seth did it, and he cracked Dolph right in the face. I don't know how he didn't break his teeth. I'm like, well, there's your something, bitch. Zigzag from Dolph almost got the pin. Seth with a nice frog splash to Drew almost got the pin. Unfortunately, the match is won, and still tag team champions Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, after Dolph wound up pinning Seth. The next match was the SmackDown World Championship, AJ Styles being the champion going against Samoa Joe. This was an ugly match, which I think we all knew it was going to be, because, let's face it, Joe crossed a big line. I mean, you can say what you want about a person, but you go after a man's family, you go after a man's children, and I'd like to bring up talking about a man's children and saying, well, I'll be your daddy now and all this stuff, like I'll be your new daddy and all that. That's fucking creepy. That is some fucking creepy shit. Just saying. Beautiful moonsault from AJ during the match, and this ended in a completely controversial manner, with Joe putting the coquina clutch on AJ, and AJ managed to get a pinning combination out of that, get Joe's shoulders down the mat. But the issue is, Joe obviously looked like he thought AJ tapped out. As it turns out from a different camera angle, AJ, when he was in the coquina clutch, as Joe's shoulders were on the mat, AJ did tap his hands against Joe's leg. So, Joe throws a fit. Corey Graves is out there, figuratively sucking Samoa Joe's dick, saying how he won and, blah, 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 and all this stuff like that. But the winner of the match, as the referee saw it, was AJ Styles because of the fact that he couldn't see AJ tapping out. The next match was the battle of the married couples, because this has been going on for a while, between Miz and his wife Maurice going against Daniel Bryan and his wife Brie Bella. A lot of back and forth here. It wasn't a great match. I mean, considering everybody involved, and I have a big problem with mixed tag matches anymore. I have a problem. I'm going to get into this now. I was going to save it till later, but fuck it, it's my show. I have a problem whenever women and men get in the ring. Simply because, now the WWE's thing now, because they have to answer to stockholders and all that, is men can't hit women. My attitude with that is, women have been fighting for years for independence and equality. Now, the thing is, equality is a two-edged sword. If you want to be paid as much as a man because you do the same job, you should be. If you're a woman and you do the same work as a man, you should both get the same amount of pay. That having been said, if you're in a wrestling ring and you slap a man in the face or whatever, and then you be like, oh, well, you can't hit me because I'm a girl, fuck you. Fuck that. Fuck that noise. I will be perfectly honest with you. If I punched a man in the face, because I don't slap people, I will fucking punch you. If I hit somebody and they didn't hit me back because they're going to be all like, oh, well, you're a girl, I would be insulted. Because there's also the simple fact that I bite, and I am an exceedingly dirty fighter, so there's that too. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to be like, well, I want special treatment because because I have a uterus. I mean, isn't that the whole point of all of the women's rights and all the women's equality? You can't have women's equality only when you want it. It has to be all or nothing. So that is just my take on the whole thing. The match ended with Maurice pinning Brie. I'm pretty sure she also had a hold of Brie's tights. And I was just kind of like, oh, fuck, they're going to be insufferable on SmackDown. Oh, no, wait, they're already insufferable. So, actually, I guess that means they're going to be even more insufferable. Huzzah and hooray. I did actually have another epiphany during that match, just listening to the announce team and listening to Corey Graves blather on and on and on. I would rather watch Birdemic and Birdemic 2 than listen to Corey Graves on commentary. Now, for those of you who are connoisseurs of bad movies, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never seen either of those films, you really need a strong constitution. And I just love the fact that during that match, Corey insulted Brie and Daniel by referring to them as being classless. Corey Graves, who's out there in a tux, not a tux jacket, but a jacket that looks like it's got a dark camo pattern on it. You're going to call somebody else classless? Hello, this is the pot calling the kettle. I'm black. Seriously. I'm like, what? Okay, anyway. We get some more Jeff Hardy news. Michael Cole reporting that Jeff Hardy is now vomiting blood. Well, that's obviously not a good thing. Next up was the Raw Women's Championship match with champion Rowdy Ronda Rousey going against Alexa Bliss, and Alexa was accompanied by Mickie James and Alicia Fox, because apparently Alexis can't go to the bathroom by herself. I don't know. I'd also like to, little note, to Alexa. Rihanna called. She wants her look back because she wears it better. You know, those whole slinky outfits and all that. You know, it's kind of a Rihanna thing, and she wears them better than you. So, there's that. Ronda was accompanied to the ring by Natalya. I have come to the conclusion that I really can't stand Alexa Bliss. I mean, I just can't. I can't stand her. I don't like her. And I was really hoping that Ronda was going to dismember her in this match. I didn't completely get what I wanted. Alexa's arms weren't in the 5th or 6th row by the time the match was over, but it was a good match. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. With Ronda at one point, Alexa had her in a lock, and she starts mocking her. And I'm thinking to myself, you really are as dumb as you look. Because the look that wound up on Ronda's face, that look that she gets on her face that basically says, I'm going to punch a hole in you now, I think that would make most men piss their pants, never mind some whiny bitch like Alexa. Ronda winds up making Alexa tap with a vicious submission hold, and winner and still women's champion Ronda Rousey. As I said, unfortunately, Ronda didn't tear Alexa's arm off and, toss it into the 5th row or something like that. Or, pop her head like a zit or something. But, as the Stones said, you can't always get what you want. Following that was the main event of the evening, with the Hell in the Cell being employed for the Raw World Championship, with champion Roman Reigns going against Braun Strowman, with special guest referee Mick Foley. And of course, any chance we get to see Mick Foley, enormous treat, because I adore Mick. I just adore him. The people out there who were booing Roman and calling him names and basically being a bunch of fuckheads, now you have a right to be that way. You have a right to say those things. You do. I mean, we live in a great country where you can, you have the right to say that stuff if you want to. Now, because we live in a great country, I have the right to say what I think. I think those chants suck. I think you people are mean. I think that most of the guys who cheer against Roman, who say bad things about Roman, who boo Roman and stuff like that, whether they want to admit it or not, most of them are jealous of Roman because they know that their women think about Roman at night because that's the only thing that helps them to stay awake when you're with them. So, just admit it to yourself and all the haters can lick me. So, there's that. During the match, Dolph and Drew came down to ringside because they're running with Braun Strowman now, because apparently a monster needs little monsters. I don't know. The score gets evened up by Seth and Dean showing up. We have the guys fighting in the ring. We have the people that were, we have Dean and Drew and Seth and Dolph fighting on top of the cage, around the cage. Lots of, very physical match. You're not going to see a lot of arm bars and scientific stuff between between Roman and Braun, but, we kind of knew that going into it. Both Dolph and Seth fall off the side of the cage. It's not quite into the announcers' tables, so pour one out for the announcers' tables, I guess. I mean, it wasn't quite as fantastic as The Undertaker tossing Mankind off the Hell in the Cell, because I don't think anything is going to top that, because it was just the first time it happened like that, and it was so fucking insane. But you kind of had a feeling something like that was going to happen during this match. So we're trying to get the match in the ring, still going, and all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar's music starts playing. Brock Lesnar, with a beard now, comes down to ringside with Paul Heyman. Brock manages to kick the door in while Paul sprays something into Foley's eyes. We're assuming it's supposed to be mace or something to that effect. Brock gets into the cage and starts beating up both Braun and Roman. He gives an F5 to Braun. He gives an F5 to Roman, while the fans are chanting Suplex City because now all of a sudden they like Brock again. What the fuck? And then Brock leaves. He beats up the both of them and leaves. And so another referee calls for the match to end. The match is deemed a no contest, and the pay-per-view is over. And I'm sitting there going, what the actual fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? And I know a lot of people have been like, oh, well, I thought the ending was fine. Okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion. It's wrong, but you're entitled to it. I'm sorry, I don't watch a pay-per-view like that. I don't pay for a pay-per-view like that and then get a fucking no contest. Fuck you. That sucked. Sorry, that sucked. As I posted on Twitter, and I might have used language that was a little too strong, but I don't care. I usually do anyway. That sucked llama dick. It just completely sucked. The next evening at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, we had Raw Live on the 17th of September. Starting off the show with Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman out in the ring yelling at each other and talking about this match coming up in Saudi Arabia. They are interrupted by Baron Corbin, who says that the match is now going to be, they're not going to fight tonight and all this other nonsense. But that instead he's making another match for that evening. And because Baron knows how injured Roman was the night before, he is making a match for himself to go against Roman Reigns. I'm like, you little bitch. Following that up, we had a singles match for the half of the tag team champions, but not the actual belt, obviously, with Drew McIntyre going against Dean Ambrose, and Drew winding up to getting a win with after Claymore. But it wasn't an easy match by any stretch of the imagination, which shouldn't really surprise anybody. The next match was Chad Gable going against Victor from the Ascension, and Chad winning. Which I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. I gotta be honest, this whole teaming of Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know if it's I don't get it and I don't like it, or it's just I don't get it. But I definitely don't get it. We knew that Triple H and The Undertaker will be fighting for one last time at Super Showdown, the card in Australia. Last week, Triple H came out and said some pretty incendiary things about The Undertaker, and I'm sitting there going, well, you're an idiot. Triple H has also said that Shawn Michaels will be in his corner, and that's nice. The Undertaker made an appearance on Raw, looking incredible, as he does, and he announced that he's going to have someone in his corner as well. His brother, Kane. Technically, really, Kane is his half-brother, but we won't go into that. And it was, your I don't say your average Undertaker promo, because I don't think The Undertaker's ever given an average promo in his life. They're all completely, you pay attention to what he's saying, because it's The Undertaker. Hey. The next match was a ladies match with Bayley going against Dana Brooke, with Bayley winning the match. And following that was the AOP, the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, along with their manager Drake Maverick, going against Gregory James and Barrett Brown, who I hope called their moms before the match actually happened, because they really kind of got the shit kicked out of them. Excuse me. In a reversal of what we saw earlier in the evening, we have the other parts of the tag team champion and the Intercontinental champion going against each other in a match, with Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins going against one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Dolph Ziggler. That match ended with Seth getting the win. So, there's that. Ronda Rousey was scheduled to take on a member of the Riot Squad, and because apparently these women can't go anywhere without, being in a trio, Ronda was waiting for her friend Natalya to come out. The Riot Squad came out dragging an unconscious Natalya, and then they tried to get in the ring and beat up Ronda, who wound up getting some unexpected help from the Bella Twins. And the Riot Squad found out why it's really kind of a fucking stupid idea to attack the baddest woman on the planet and then really give her a reason to want to kick your fucking ass. The next match was, well, first of all, before the next match, we had Elias with a guitar because we can't have nice things. I don't know. With Elias going against Bobby Lashley, that actually didn't end the way I thought it was going to, but it did. It wound up having Elias beating Bobby Lashley via disqualification. We had Kevin Owens getting involved along with, on Elias's behalf, and Lio Rush getting involved on Bobby Lashley's behalf. Okay. Ladies tag team match was up next with, Mickie James and Alicia Fox, and they were going against Ember Moon and her partner, who she didn't introduce right away, and Mickie and Alicia were mocking her and saying no one wanted to be her partner and all this stuff like that, and also with Alexa, who was out there, Alexa Bliss out there at ringside. All of that shit stopped when it was revealed who Ember's partner was, a returning Nia Jax. And, Alexa looked like she'd seen a ghost, and I was like, yeah, you actually did see a ghost. It's the ghost of kick your ass yet to come. Needless to say, Nia and Ember made short work of Mickie and Alexa, and that couldn't have happened any better as far as I was concerned. The main event was the Universal Champion Roman Reigns going against Baron Corbin, who used everything that he could possibly use to try and steal the belt from Roman, including all of a sudden deciding the match was a no disqualification match when there was interference from Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre bringing out Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. And, just basically doing everything but tying an anchor around Roman's nuts and dropping a piano on him, trying to guarantee that he'd win. And none of it worked, bitch. So we wound up with Roman Reigns still defeating Baron Corbin twice and still being Universal Champion. So, let me see. What kind of a message would I give to Baron after that? Oh, yeah, suck it! So, that was Raw for the evening. The next evening, the 18th, was SmackDown live, and that started with what I figured / dreaded the show was going to start with, which was Miz TV and Miz interviewing Maurice about their win over Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella and blah, 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 fucking blah, get off my TV. Daniel Bryan finally came down to the ring, and a little physicality happened, and it looked like Maurice had been hurt. Would I be a bad person if I said that I would break out into wild applause if Maurice got hurt? Would that make me a bad person? I'll live with it. Unfortunately, it turned out she wasn't really hurt and it was a trap, but it was a trap that didn't work because Daniel Bryan wound up victorious in the ring and Maurice and The Miz outside of it without microphones. Thank you. The next match was the match with Kofi Kingston, part of the New Day, going against Cesaro, with Cesaro winning with a move called the Neutralizer. The next match was a championship match with United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura going against Rusev for the United States belt, because that makes sense. You've got a guy from Bulgaria challenging a guy from Japan for the United States Championship. Ow. I really think part of my brain just packed a note and walked away. This turned into a complete clusterfuck with Aiden English finally deciding that he was going to go out on his own and turning on Rusev and leaving Rusev in the ring after Shinsuke wound up beating Rusev, and so now apparently the team of Rusev Day has fallen by the wayside. SmackDown champion AJ Styles went against Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega in his corner. Yippee. With AJ getting the win there. Unfortunately, this couldn't, be done and just be done and over with, because after AJ won the match with a Styles Clash, out comes Samoa Joe, who shows how much of a big brave man he is by attacking AJ from behind, with AJ managing to fend off this attack. Following that was a ladies match with Billie Kay with Peyton Royce in her corner, going against Asuka with Naomi. And I'm sorry, are you kidding? Really? Asuka against Billie Kay, and you have to ask me who won? Are you serious? You're lucky that Asuka didn't kill her. Needless to say, Asuka wound up winning against Billie Kay. I mean, that's kind of a foregone fucking conclusion, but what the fuck ever. Then we had what was supposed to simply be a, passing of the torch kind of a deal with Paige in the ring and Becky Lynch, the new SmackDown Women's Champion, and Charlotte Flair, the previous champion. And, it was supposed to be one of these whole things talking about, former champion passing the torch to the new champion. And, in certain cases, in certain places, this kind of thing is done with decorum and dignity and people actually acting like, grown-ups. Nope, not here. Becky, I'm sorry, I've heard the term sore loser before, but sore winner, that's a new one, because Becky's whole thing seems to be like, it's not enough for her that she's won, she just has to completely rub it in Charlotte's face, and I'm like, you won, bitch, what the fuck else do you want, her firstborn child? Settle the fuck down and slow your roll, pump the hate brakes there, Thanos. Charlotte basically had to listen to Becky just ramble and talk, Charlotte took it a lot longer than I figured she would, until Charlotte was demanded by Becky to call her queen, and then Lynch referred to her as a bitch. I mean, it's not the worst word she could have used. It's the worst word she could have used before 10 o'clock on regular TV, but, this, of course, prompted an enormous fight between the two ladies. And it ended up with Becky being on the winning end of things for now. I have a feeling that's not going to last for very long. So that was this week for the pay-per-view, Raw, and for SmackDown as well. I hope you enjoyed my look at the week's shows. If you have any questions or comments or queries, complaints, Roman Reigns' phone number. I'm kidding on that last one. That was a joke. Stalking is bad. But if you have anything you'd like to send my way, just thoughts or whatever, just send them to me at platinumroselle@yahoo.com. I will definitely read them and take your advice, or whatever you'd like to send my way. If you'd like to find out about the other shows that I am part of, you can go check out Subject Cinema, which is our movie podcast. My husband TC and I have a movie podcast where we talk about movies. We've been doing it for more than 10 years. My gosh. And it's a fun show. We have a lot of fun. And we also have our list show, Front Row 5 and 10, which is we do lists about all kinds of crazy topics, and that's a lot of fun too. I have another solo show. It's called Platinum Rose's Garden, and that is my Supernatural podcast. Right now, you can go back and listen to the previous season, my look at the previous season's episodes of Supernatural. And it will be coming back full-time in October when Supernatural returns for season 14. So psyched about that. TC has a couple of shows as well. He has Catastrophe Vortex, which is his disaster movie show, because he is a disaster movie junkie, and I am not. And he has 2 smaller shows, including 3 Minute Weekend and Tuesday Digidex, which are shows that he does talking about movies that are coming out to theaters, coming out to pay-per-view, coming out on DVD, all that kind of cool stuff, so you know where to spend your money. If you'd like to listen to other people that are part of our family, or watch them that are part of our little podcast community, you can check out Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon, and also Aunt B's Nerd Grotto on YouTube. Anthony Lamberti, who is a great guy talking about comics and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And if you are of a more dramatic bent, you can check out Manhattan Hammerdown As It Happened, which is a dramatic reading that all of us were involved in. It's looking at what happened in New York the night that something very big and very pissed off came out of New York Harbor. It's a retrospect looking at other things that happened during the film Cloverfield. It's our look at that, and it was a lot of fun and a real labor of love, and I hope you'll check it out. If you want to check out some of my other ramblings, you can find me on Twitter at PlatinumRoselle at Twitter.com. You can also look for my fanfic on fanfiction.net. Look up Platinum Rose Lady in the author section, and you can find my stuff there. So that is going to wrap it up for another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I hope you enjoyed my show. And this is Kim Brown, a.k.a. Platinum Rose Lady, signing off for another week. See you later, guys. Bye.
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNRNetworks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.